Tell me about this place and your history with it.
Well, this place has been here since the 60s, the late 60s. Of course, I wasn't born. I was born in '76, but this place has always been here, and everybody that grew up here in Galveston knows Selena's Blue Room. It's called Selena's Blue Room, and it's pretty much like a old school bar, where people would go and kind of remind me of Roberts. It's an old school bar and everything. Hey, how you doing? There she is. I'm good. But I remember as a kid walking by here and seeing the blue light. It was a blue light and said Selena's Blue Room, and that always caught my attention because it was blue lights, and I would walk by, and probably was like 9 or 10 years old, wasn't even old enough to go in there, but I always wondered how it looked on the inside.
What were you saying? The first drag show you did was here? Tell me that story.
Exactly. My very first drag show was here. That was over 20 some years ago, and one of the queens, one of the drag queens, her name was Miss. She goes by Stickpin, but she had did a song called "Clean Up Woman," and she said, "Hey girl, I need somebody to back me up." So I came out in a long robe with the broom and the little duster and stuff, and I've always wanted to be on stage. That was my very first drag show, and it was here. It was here, and so after that, I got the bug. I always wanted to perform since then. So yeah, and this place has a lot of history. Lots of history.
We heard that you stayed through the night.
Yeah, my partner and I, we stayed during Ike. We had an option of leaving, but we didn't want to go to nobody else's house. We're very private people. Our lifestyle doesn't allow us to be living with somebody else. And we thought about it, and I questioned him, and he was like, "Okay, babe, we got food and everything. We got supplies. We'll go ahead and stay." Didn't know that it was going to be bad, than what it actually was. We lived upstairs, so we didn't. Our landlord lived downstairs. All of her stuff got destroyed. I remember during the part of when the Eye of Ike had came. It was like 15 minutes, just quiet, still. Able to look in the sky. We seen the moon. And then I looked down over our balcony, our porch. The water was right there, 12, 13 feet high. And I was like, and then I knew that Galveston was done. As far as being destroyed and stuff. Population wise, it dropped. I think Galveston was like at 60, 65, 68,000. After Ike, it dropped down to like 41,000 or something like that. I think deep down inside, I think they're deterring people from returning. I honestly do. They're deterring people from coming back and then they're taking their time.
Does that have a racial element to it?
Uh, at times I think it does. A lot of times I don't think. I don't think on racial terms like that. Uh, there was a lot of violence with these projects. People getting killed and stuff, and uh, drugs and everything. I think Ike helped them out, big time. Ike helped them out.
Why is that?
There's nothing here now. It's quiet. If the public housing was still here, you'll have kids playing, riding their bicycles and playing. They're playing in the courtyard and stuff. You'll hear people playing their music in their apartments. You'll see people. Of course, you don't see anybody now because it's empty, but it's just totally different. It's totally different, and that's why I say I think I kept those out who didn't want these places here. I've had people that say that, no, I'm not going back to Galveston. I don't want to go back to Galveston. People started new lives elsewhere. They got comfortable elsewhere. They don't want to come back to Galveston. Most people had 3 foot of plywood taken out of their places. Everywhere you would go in town, every house, every business, you'll ride by, you'll see where they had cut out. Like 3 foot of plywood. I guess they were, reconstructing and trying to save their property because We had a real bad problem with mold too, because the mold started setting in. The sign, her original sign, Selena's Blue Room, had broken and had flown in our yard. That's the first thing I noticed when I came outside the next morning before we left out. The first thing I noticed, I looked and I seen that sign. And that sign was laying right there in the middle, right in front of that truck. And that sign had been up there over 40 years. And to see that sign laying on the ground, and me as a little kid, 8, 9, 10 years old, walking through here and seeing the sign and the beautiful blue colored bulbs, and to see it on the ground, I said, it's all over with, you know.